My name is IanTheHRPro, and I'm an HR consultant. This is my name down here in the bottom corner. I use the hashtag IanTheHRPro, and you are watching IanTheHRPro live podcast. It is Thursday. Thursdays we talk about career club. So we're talking about what are we talking about? We're talking about resumes, cover letters, job hunts, interview prep, lateral moves, promotions, and all things careers. So ask your questions in the comment, please. I'm always ready to just talk about random stuff. So give me a random question that has to do with today's topic, and or if you feel like you need to talk about human resources. As a human resources consultant, I can answer those questions for you, or at least point you in the right direction. So I'm always willing to talk about HR, no matter what the topic is. We got today career club. I got a few notes. Maybe it'll get us through the show for once without me rambling. But I do ramble. Yep. We could call this Ian the Rambling Show, probably. Oh, cold hard water this morning. Oh, we need some extra light. What's going on here? There. Ta-da! I can even open the window a little bit more if I want. Can you see me now? Can you see me now? Excellent. This is me face. Anyway, we'll give my sister a few minutes to connect because she's always connecting. Of course, now that I said that, this will be the one day that she doesn't connect. Yay! Anywho, I am live streaming on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter X today. So I don't know if you're watching from some of these apps, the chat may not get to me directly, or there might be a time delay for the chat to get to me. And my sister tested it out, and it seems like her chats come in a little bit slow from her phone, but her computer is quicker. So anyway, she says, I am here, says my sister Joy. Like she's like some ominous voice from the interwebs. Oh, I'm here. Yes. Thank you for being ominous like that. Ta-da. So, sorry. I'm shaking the table. I'm shaking the computer. I try not to touch my computer, my desk too much. Just a little simple shake seems to shake my whole laptop. My laptop is on this cool little stand where the keyboard's up like this, so I type more up in front of me, and then the screen is up almost right in front of me, and the camera's almost directly in my face. So you didn't need to know any of that. So I'm kind of in a down mood today. Just things going on. I did a review of my business websites and stuff, and I was just checking to make sure everything was in line. And you know, the way I'm doing things for my business is I'm going live, I'm creating content, I'm creating at least 3 pieces of content each day, and I'm trying to post every day, and trying to post something random each day. I go to Google Trends and find out what's trending today, and I make a video about it. So I'm just trying all these things and looking when I look at my own website and I try to update the back end infrastructure, it always makes me a little bit sad because there's no secret, my business is not a multi-million-dollar enterprise right now, that's for sure. And this time of year, the end of September, early October, we tend to have a few bookings to facilitate the Kairos blanket exercise because it's always right around National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, September 30th, here in Canada. And we always get bookings, and that's nice. This is facilitation. It is 3 to 4 hours of my time, and my wife helps me facilitate this exercise. And it's a 500-year history lesson of Indigenous relations in Canada and our shared treaty relationship with the Europeans and all the new Canadians. So that makes a bit of money for me this time of year, but then it's like, I gotta really survive. I gotta really stretch that money to keep my business going for the rest of the year. So I've been doing this push to do these live broadcasts and to get more content out there. This is was it number 7, number 6? This is Career Club number 7, but I have been going live every weekday for 8 weeks. I missed one day because we had a Kairos blanket exercise to facilitate that day. So I'm not doing any lives on days that I have to rush to an event or something like that. So so we're down, but it's been 8 weeks of doing this content, and I'm pushing for 3 months before I make any real big changes. So we're at 8 weeks, 4 weeks. So we're looking at like mid to late November before I decide whether or not my efforts of doing this are working for my own business. But that comes back down to the topic of the day, Career Club. I started doing my own HR consulting because the job market was hard. And kind of post-COVID, and even just before COVID, things were starting to be different, be weird with the job market that I noticed, and people were having trouble. In my own industry, in the HR industry, I knew there was several HR people that maybe I went to school with or I just knew from the industry. They were having trouble finding work. And we're all competing for the same jobs and stuff like that. And it was such a strange time, and it continues. It's getting stranger. These are strange things in our strange times. What I've noticed with the job search, especially in 2025, and this is probably going to continue into 2026. First big thing is the ghost job ads. So organizations, companies are just putting up job ads and basically just leaving them up. And they are only, I would assume they're only responding to the very best candidates that they think is the best candidate for them. So it's just a way for them to constantly get resumes. So if they do happen to have an opening, they may be running a job ad, they've got no openings. They're just they just know they get, it's a high rotation on a certain job or something. I mean, if you're a big organization and you promote from within, and the only place you really do a job at is for the only place you really do a job at is for the entry level jobs, and what you're doing in your organization is just trying to promote from within, so that entry level person becomes, you know, they go from intern from temporary to into a full-time role, and a good organization, they'll develop their people and promote from within when necessary. That means they're only searching for the very entry-level positions they have. Oh, yawning, sorry. But it feels like some organizations are putting up these ghost jobs, not just to fill their entry-level roles, but for roles across the whole spectrum of their organization. They just want to keep getting these resumes in. And I kind of think that's dirty pool. And it makes it look like there's more jobs out there, right? If you got 500 organizations all posting a couple jobs each that are just ghost jobs, and they only respond to the best of the best, in their opinion, then it looks like there's lots of jobs, but there's not. And, so it's a very strange thing for organizations to be doing. And I think the quality of employees we get through the standard job ads, say Indeed or something like that, I think is lower than what we could find. Now, if you're a government organization or a union organization, you are going to have to, the organization is going to have to follow some rules for their hiring. It's going to be a little more unflexible. This is our process. This is how we do it. And the idea is that they're trying to be transparent, or they're trying to make sure the unions don't get upset. They're trying to make sure that the public doesn't get upset, things like that. And that's why it's sometimes hard to get into a good government job, because they have so many steps and the process and things like that, right? Once you're in the government, it's a little easier to move lateral moves or move departments or things like that, and you can. It's like economy unto itself, right? You're in that new government economy where you work. So I feel bad sometimes that I left my federal government job. I was not happy at the job. The work environment was not good for me at all. It might have been good for other people, but it wasn't good for me. And I was going through just bouts of mental health issues or whatever, right? Trying to take as many sick days as I could so I would have more time off to deal with what I was dealing with. And I felt good about leaving the government at the time. But in hindsight, I'm also sad that I didn't try harder to make lateral moves within the government. And my main problem was that I was currently in school trying to get my degree. So I was taking university courses 3 and 4 times a week in the evenings. So I'd leave work, I'd meet my wife, and she would drive home, or I'd drive her home quick, and then I'd drive to class. So it was hard times. It's hard times going back to school as an adult. And with that, it's despite me feeling amazing leaving the government. At the same time, if I could have stuck it out, I think it was like another year and a half. If I could have survived another year and a half in that government job, I would have had my degree, and I could have started to make those lateral moves. But it's also very hard in the federal government. A lot of jobs, they ask for bilingualism. My mouth is dry. I couldn't speak French. I still can't speak French. And so that would have been another hurdle that I would have had to deal with the federal government. And I feel like I should have, if that was the case, as soon as I got my degree, I could have stayed on with the feds and then either tried to get a provincial role or even a municipal role, City of Edmonton or something role. But it would have looked good because I was still currently working within government. So it's very hard for me to get back into government because I'm not currently working in government. And it's been a long time now since I worked for government. So that's a whole different ballgame. But when you're working with a private company and a larger private company, they have the ability to hire in different ways. So employee referrals, so someone who works there and they refer you. You can get noticed somehow by building your personal brand, and someone there is like, oh, this person is on the ball, this person knows it. So you can get creative in how you connect with different organizations. Now, the job search in 2025, it's still in 2026, or the advent of AI. Like they've had automatic resume readers for a long time, since any of the online job search boards that came to fruition, Monster, Workopolis, Indeed, right? These guys, they have been using some form of automatic resume reading in their systems. So if I was to post a job, the job ad would be there, but then there's all these additional questions, and I could put in, the resume has to have the specific keyword, right? The specific program or skill, and it has to be written the same way I wrote it. So if I write it in long form, but everyone just uses the abbreviation, it still was getting missed. Despite you using the abbreviation, the automatic systems didn't see it. So there was it's getting better. It's obviously getting better. AI is learning these systems and doing things, but it's still difficult for us as potential employees. How do we build a resume now? How do we, and it is really important to have those keywords. It's good to have a really industry specific resume with all the industry keywords and jargon and lingo that might go with that industry if you want to stay in that industry. And you can get away with having one resume for the industry, but if you're like, applying for truck driver jobs, you're going to have one resume. But if you're applying for admin assistant jobs, that's going to be a different resume, right? You can't be using the same resume for those. They're just not related enough. Unless you're going for an admin assistant at a trucking company, right? So just think about where you're applying. But the really important thing is to make sure you make a cover letter for every application, because you look at the job ad, the words they're using, the lingo they're using, and especially the second that says must have skills, the stuff that you must have. Everything else on the resume is just them trying to sell you the job. You will be doing this, working with these people, doing this sort of stuff. That's great. But the stuff that they really want to know about is in the required skills, required experience section, which is usually further down at the bottom, near the bottom. You want to make sure your resume covers those questions, that list of skills. Must have experience doing this, must have skills using this program, whatever they're saying there. You need to make sure you answer the question, even though they're not questions, they're bullet points. You want to respond to those bullet points in your cover letter. Now, every job ad you look at, if you're looking at a specific industry, this is your skills. Every job ad you look at, you should be aware of the industry lingo they're using, and make sure you're using the same lingo, right? Anytime you use an abbreviation, make sure you write the full name out afterwards, or vice versa, right? Because you need to cover all those words. Because if you're not covering enough of those words, at the back end, when I'm looking at potentials, I'm telling the system, only show me people who come up at 80% or better. So 80% of the words or questions or conditions that I've set, if you don't meet or beat 80%, I'm never going to see your resume. As a hiring manager, as an HR manager, as a recruiter, if you don't meet that certain amount in the automated system, I never see your resume. You could be the most amazing, perfect person for this role, but you're not very good at resumes, and you didn't get past the robot gatekeeping the door, right? In the old days, you would go hand them a physical resume. Hey, I'm looking for work. And they're like, okay, we'll give it to our boss. And the manager looks at it. The manager is getting resumes all the time. So if they've got a stack of resumes, they're going through them as fast as they can. The 6 to 10 second rule, they're just like skimming it real quick and saying yes or no. And that was what the automated systems are doing now. But the human still had the ability to say, oh, this looks interesting, and spend a little more time and move that to the yes pile instead of the no pile, right? There's this little bit of human intuition that AI hasn't caught up to quite yet. So, but if that first initial check is happening through the system and only 80% are better, I mean, it really could mean just someone who's really good at making a resume has gotten through, but they're really not good at the job. So there's that, right? So you got to make sure you're getting through the AI, especially if you're applying someplace where they don't say, send your resume to this email address, right? If you're sending it to a specific email address, you can almost be sure that a human is going to see it first and say yes or no. But the system is going to say yes or no just based on keywords, essentially just keywords. Like I said, AI is getting better. It's going to understand that certain keywords mean certain things. So it's going to get better. But, ooh, sorry, I'm yawning again. Nobody fall asleep. Everybody stay awake. So that's what I'm seeing in job searches right now. And I kind of feel like the final component is that business owners are purposely being slow about hiring because they actually don't want to have to pay for the additional back-end overhead expense or continuing expense. I mean, that's why some business owners are happy to give this one-time bonus. Here's your $50 gift card to Montana's, right? Like, that's a one-time expense. That's something they don't have to budget for month after month, year after year, right? So if I give you a pay raise of 10 cents an hour, that's not very much, but it is an expense that I now have to budget for. So business owners are just trying to protect themselves, but it seems like a lot of times they're protecting themselves this way in the back end to the detriment of their business, because you need salespeople. You need a ton of salespeople, right? If you are in some sort of sales organization, hey, you want to buy a product, right? You need a ton of salespeople because that's your outbound sales process. If that's how you make your money, that's how you get your clients, then you just need a lot of those people, and you just keep expanding it, and you keep training those people, and you keep getting rid of the people that don't reach a certain quota, right? You're constantly training and upgrading it. This sales team is the lifeblood for the rest of your organization. If you oversell, yay! That's something to be happy about. You've oversold. Now what do you got to do? You got to amp up production of your product, or you got to hire and train more people to deliver your service to those clients. That's a good place to be, right? And if you are making all these sales, then you've got enough money to go ahead and do that at the back end. So I don't, some businesses are weird. I know HR, my industry, is usually the first place a business owner says we need to cut some costs, right? They're like, who do we get rid of? They're like, let's get rid of HR. They don't do anything for us, even though they're, sales is the lifeblood of the organization. The HR is like your lungs, right? Allowing you to breathe and get oxygen to your lifeblood, right? It's a strange place to be in. If you have more than 99 employees, you absolutely need an HR person. If you get to about 75 people in your organization, you need some sort of part-time or full-time HR support. If your organization is making good money, you make good profits, then I would try to get an HR person in there as soon as possible. The sooner the better. Then you can offload all that work, and you can just be the boss and build your business, right? And the first job of HR should be like, let's get more salespeople, right? Like you just need to be selling more. And if you're cutting your sales team, I mean, if you're relying like more than 50-60% of your business is outbound sales, then you need that sales team, right? You need them. You need to be going crazy making sure you got lots of sales. If you're taking a different approach, the inbound sales, so you are, instead of paying salespeople, you're paying for marketing and advertising, then that's a different ballgame, right? That's more what I'm doing right now because I can't afford a salesman, and I've tried doing the outbound sales myself, talking to small business owners if they need me, and I don't get anywhere. I'm a terrible salesperson, and I just haven't figured out enough if that's the way the industry works. I think the HR industry works kind of at the opposite end. We need to build trust. We need to put out lots of content. We need to do lots of advertising to get in front of people. We just need to be there when something happens so that we can come in and save the day. So, where's my list here? I think that's all I'm going to talk about the job search right now. It's just, you can get past those few hurdles. That's great. But we are, here in Alberta, there is, I guess we just hit 5 million people in Alberta over this past year, this spring, I think like April or something like that. So we got 5 million people in Edmonton, so that are in Alberta. So it's usually like, it used to be like 1.5 million in Edmonton, 1.5 million in Calgary, in the area, the metropolitan area, and then like another million people encompassing the rest of the province. So, but I think we are more like 2 million people in Edmonton and area, and 2 million people in Calgary and area, and that extends, those areas kind of meet at Red Deer, and right a little bit from Calgary out to Lethbridge and Medicine Hat, and kind of Edmonton kind of reaches out a little bit to Grand Prairie and Fort McMurray, but there's very little in between. It's a little more in between Edmonton and Grand Prairie, but Fort McMurray is just like, farmland stops, and then there's like 4 hours of tour. It's not 4 hours. There's like another 2.5, 3 hours of travel to get before you get to Fort McMurray, right? But looking at this increase and hearing the rhetoric from the city of Edmonton is trying to prepare to have the city at 2 million people. Right now I think we're effectively at 2 million people, but the people actually living in the city, we're just over 1 million, and then we got all the suburbs around us. So in the area, I think we're very close to 2 million people. If you extend down into the Highway 2 corridor on this way to Red Deer, then we're definitely at 2 million. So lots of people coming into the area, lots of people competing for jobs. And I hate saying competing for jobs because this is life. We don't compete with each other for life anymore, but maybe we do. I mean, we've proven through the human history that we do better when we work together, right? We're not a family of 4 fighting our way through the wilderness to survive. And anytime we meet another family of 4, we mess them up and try to take their stuff, right? We have this symbiotic relationship with everyone in our region because I spend my money in the local economy. That money goes to local business owners and some large businesses. And then those business owners also spend their money in the local economy because they're people and they live here too. But they also spend some of their profits to, some of their revenue to order in supplies and things like that. So the small businesses in an area is supporting larger business, the regional businesses and stuff like that. So it's all symbiotic. And there's people working in all these different jobs and stuff like that. I got a chart I don't know where I've hidden it, but I feel like I want to show it. It might be a little bit political, but just give me a moment. I don't even know which folder it's gonna be in. Just give me a minute. I'm gonna search this. I think it's a kind of a work in progress for me. Oh, you know what? It might not even be in my files. It might be still in Canva. So I need to possibly download it out of Canva. Although I haven't looked at it in so long, so it could be way down the list. I'm sorry, it's taken forever. But you can see the symbiotics of us. And when you think about it, us, people, we are the economy, right? Like the economy isn't just businesses. Oh my god. Why is it? There it is. I'm just gonna share this. Open tab to new window. Yeah, okay, so I found it. It's still in my Canva where I design stuff. So it is still in beta version. I think I might have to do more. But why is that? Oh, shrinking. Anyway, you can see it there. So this is my vision of what the economy is. So we talk about the economy as a pyramid, but the pyramid has a wedge on it. So at the base of the pyramid of every economy is the people. We, the people, spend our money on stuff and services, right? If there is no people, there is no way there can be an economy. So the people have to have money. And don't go all chicken and egg on me. the economy is a gradual thing that builds in every society, right? We like, oh, there's a need for this, and people pay me, and then people make money, right? Like all of a sudden there's more services. So it takes time for an economy to build, and we are way past chicken in it and the egg here. We are in a full-blown economy, and the people have money. People have money today. That doesn't mean people will have money tomorrow, but the people have money today to spend on stuff and services, right? So where do people spend their money? On every business. Small business, big business, right? Small business products, business products, big business services, big small business services, whatever, right? This is what we spend our money on. So, but we think about fulfilling those needs. Me, as a person, as one of the people, says, I see a need. I see that people need this. So I say, I'm going to start a business. I start my small business. Here in Alberta, when I last checked, these numbers are got to be well over 5 years old right now. There was 150,000 small businesses in Alberta, and 75% of all working Albertans worked for a small business. Here in Alberta, we define a small business as a business with less than 99 employees. I think there's also a money number in there, like if you make less than $5 million or something like that. So less than $5 million revenue and less than 99 employees. This is your small business. This is what, in my mind, this picture, this diagram, this is what I'm envisioning as a small business. So most of the base, we get our spending money from small businesses. 75% of us in Alberta get our spending and living money from a small business because we work there. And then we spend that money on other small businesses and some big businesses. I mean, we can think about there's certain big businesses like our telecommunications, I've totally blanked out. You know the ones that are big businesses in your area, and like Amazon for deliveries and things like that, right? There are some people that work for these big businesses, but it's only about 25% of the economy is working for a big business. So when I look at these numbers, I think to myself, no private organization is too big to fail, right? Because we're looking at the economy. Most people work at a small business. So what do we got to do? We've got to support our small businesses because that's where we all work, right? And then we have the big businesses. The big businesses, they make lots of money. They are, what's the word I like to say? They are lucky enough, skilled enough, blessed enough to be a big business. They've made it work. They are now very successful. And if they can't continue to be successful without government support, then I honestly think they should fail. You have resources, money, customers, infrastructure. You should be able to make it work at this point. If you're a big business, and we're saying over 100 employees and infinite amount of money, you're making hundreds of millions or billions of dollars a year, you should be able to organize yourself to be successful no matter what happens to society and or the rest of the economy that you're sitting on top of there. So, but of course we don't see that. We see big business really influencing government, and we see that everywhere. Here in Alberta we see that, things like that. So I think I'm toying with putting another wedge on the other side so it's a square. But on the one side is the government laws and regulations. And the wedge is appropriate. It gets bigger. It's this, what kind of triangle is that? Isosceles. Anyway, it's an upside down wedge shape. And the laws and regulations get bigger, or there's more of them, as we move up the economy pyramid, right? Big businesses need more regulations to protect the rest of us at the bottom. Small businesses need regulations because most of us work for small businesses, right? So there's these sections. And obviously there should be regulations for us people to protect us from each other. But there should be more regulations for small businesses because we all work there. So small businesses need to be protected and or supported. And big businesses that tend to try to take everything over and abuse the system, they definitely need a lot more regulations. I'm toying with the idea of over here on this other side putting in unions. And because, obviously we the people, if we work in a union environment, we're part of the union. Small businesses don't always have unions, but they may work in an industry where there's trade unions and things like that. So if I'm a construction company or something like that, and I hire a bunch of Boilermakers to work on my buildings, well, they may be in the Boilermaker union or some sort of trade industry, right? And all the trades, they all have their own trade union. So small businesses do have to deal with unions in some aspects, but their own employees may not be unionized. So there's dealing with unions, but not having a unionized shop, a union shop within their own organization. But big businesses, this includes government, are notoriously bad places to work. They abuse their workers. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a union. A union is formed when your organization is bad for people. Right? That's just the truth. Either now or in the past, this organization was a terrible organization to work for. We had no options. We had to work, so we continued to work for them, but we fought back and we created unions to help protect the workers. So it's you could be looking at it one way and saying, oh, unions are bad because they're always making it hard for my business to make money. But why are you oppressing people and your workers to make money? Your business has the expense side and your revenue side. Okay. So you can only cut costs so much to show a profit. There is a finite space. You've got all your employees and all your infrastructure and everything you're paying for. There's only so much of it. It is very finite. But on the revenue side, it's wide open. It's possibly exponential. Why would you try to reduce your back end, your expenses, your overhead, when you have all this runway to create more revenue? What? Hello? You have unlimited ability to make money, especially if you're a large organization and you've got the infrastructure in place. You just start making more sales. Sell your product, sell your service, expand to another community, whatever, right? The ability to make the revenue, especially for a well-working organization that's already making revenue, is unlimited. I don't care what industry you're in, because you now have the money and the resources to pivot a little bit or a lot to make more money in a different area, in a different market, right? Like it's strange that you would squeeze your own organization to save money when you should be concentrating on getting more revenue. Get more revenue. Like, if you hear about job cuts and companies selling off divisions or resources, right? I think that's a mistake that someone is making within the organization. Instead of saying, let's make more sales or let's expand our ability to make revenue, they're saying, let's shrink our company and kill our long-term prospects. You're trying to shrink your company back down to where it was when you were a small business. Remember, when you were a small business, you weren't making any money. You were just barely surviving. You had enough money to like grow just a little bit, and you were just fighting every inch as a small business. But as a big business, you move these large chunks of money and resources to do something amazing, to move on to the next level. I mean, it's just, and you can do it without being a bad work environment, and you can do it without treating your employees so badly that they have to unionize. If your employees are unionized, the leadership has issues. Period. So I'm thinking of putting a union side on there. But if you're thinking of the economy, we, the people, are the economy. And how do you get ahead in that economy? How do you get ahead? Let's stop the screen share. So, personal branding. We're coming back to it. We talk about branding as a big corporation trying to brand itself, or a growing corporation trying to do branding and things like that, right? We think branding's only for big business. Branding is for every business. Branding is for every person. You need to build your personal brand. And some of these young people out there right now, they are just killing it in the personal brand situation, because they've learned and grown up in a world where social media is free to post. It's free to post on social media. I'm paying for this program to post to 5 social sites right now. but the physical act of that posting to those sites is free. Except for Twitter. Twitter made me pay, bastards. Anyway, the other 4 sites, it's totally free to post. But if I wanted to just post regularly on Twitter X, then it's still free. Me as a person, I could still post individual videos and make comments or photos or whatever, right? The physical act of doing that posting is free. And the only caveat is that Twitter made me become a verified member so that I could live stream to it. So you don't necessarily have to be live streaming like me, or you could choose one site to live stream and record it at the same time, and then take the clips out of it that you could share on all your social medias. And it takes time to build that personal brand. And by time, I mean posting more than you think. Posting what you think is ridiculously a large amount of posting, you need to do twice that, right? I could post about the exact same thing every day for a week, and not everybody that's connected with me on LinkedIn will ever see that content. Because when I post a piece of content on LinkedIn, I'm saying LinkedIn because that's where my most connections are, my most followers are, because I've been working for the last 7 years to build it. But when I post on something on LinkedIn, my average impressions on that post is 50 to 200. But I have 12,000 connections on LinkedIn. Shouldn't all 12,000 of my connections, aka followers, see my content? That's not how it works. Social media is not about your followers anymore. It's about the content. So if I post a piece of content every day for a week, 7 times 2, it's not even going to be 2,000 of my followers. Not even 2,000 of my followers is going to see that content more than once, right? So 2,000 people are going to see my content, but they're only going to see it on like one day. Someone saw it on Monday, someone saw it on Friday, someone saw it on Saturday, right? It would be very rare if someone saw the new post every day that I posted on the same topic. And that would only happen because they're really interested in that topic or whatever I posted, right? So the algorithm knows they're going to want to see it. But all the other 12,000 people on my list, or 10,000 people on my list, the algorithm's like, maybe I'll show it, see if they're interested in it. I don't know. They haven't signaled to me that they like HR content, so I'll just test it a little bit, right? And that's all the algorithm is doing. And so it's a combination of the algorithm testing to see if your content is going to fit anywhere and how good your content is. And you're not going to know how good your content is unless you do a lot of posting. It takes a long time to find that, that's that one that went viral. That's the one that went viral. We're going to put money into it. I'm going to boost that piece of content. I'm going to start doing more content about that specific topic, right? Until I find another one, right? So you're doing that personal branding. And if I'm trying to bring it down to a level, if you are a job hunter looking for a job, right? And I think something else that kind of made me sad today was that I was actually messaging a connection on LinkedIn this morning about like 2 hours ago or something, and they had mentioned that they were having trouble finding work. Because I like to ask the question, hey, what are you passionate about in your job or career? And occasionally I get someone who comes back and says, I don't have a job, so I'm not passionate about anything, right? So I'm kind of sad. I'm sad when that happens, because I can understand that. There's been lots of times I've been job hunting and just found nothing. And really, right now, I'm still on this extended job hunt. I've just kind of refined it, and I'm only applying for jobs that I really want. I shouldn't. I should still be applying for the entry-level HR assistant jobs. I mean, they obviously want someone with a degree and 10 years experience for their entry-level HR job, right? That seems to be what they're posting. That's why we have all the ghost jobs. They're looking for just the top amazing person, even though the job is crap. So with personal branding, I'm going to think about this connection I had this morning. I'm not going to say their name or anything like that. But they are in the trades and learning this new trade. So you got your trade levels, right? Your different levels before you finally become a journeyman or red seal or whatever, right? You got these levels. So this person is just starting this trade. And I'm thinking, what are you going to do for someone job searching like that? Well, we're going to make sure the resume looks good, for sure. We're going to make sure they have the ability to write proper cover letters every time they want to apply for a job. Yes, that's the basic stuff. We may even want to run them through the basic interview questions they might get and things like that. And yes, but that's with everybody. That's everybody. But if you're thinking about somebody who's into trades or just learning a trade, how do you build your brand on that? Well, the answer is you talk about trades. So as you were going through your training courses, because when you start a trade, normally you take the course for that level, and then you have to go get some hours, some experience doing it, right? So while you're in this training phase, just talk about what you learn. Now, the way we learn, right? Think about how you learn. Think about how other people learn. I'm very much an audio learner. I listen very well. And if I ever missed a class, I found that very difficult for me to catch up. So I'm an audio learner. I want everybody to shut the hell up, and I want to be able to listen to the instructor and just absorb it. I'm very good at absorbing information, except for short-term information like what do we have planned today, or did you feed the cats, stuff like that. But when I'm absorbing information, I'm really good at the audio, and I really enjoy learning through the books. I do read a lot, and you can see in the back here I got lots of books that I read, and they're business-related books, stuff like that. So, okay, audio learner, reading learner, how do you say that? Literature learner, anyway. But you also have the visual learners, and I think a high level of people that are on social media, they do enjoy the videos. So what are you going to do to brand yourself? My sister, she made a couple comments here. She zoomed out, missed the last 30 minutes. I got interviewed for the last job I applied for, and I thought I rocked my cover letter. They never did notify me that I didn't get the job. See, it's a bad HR environment. I know which job she's talking about. So it's kind of a union environment also. But that's too bad. It's too bad you zoned out and missed all this quality stuff. And she also says, it's so discouraging when they interview and don't follow up. My wife finally met and asked personally, because I was applying up there to be close to her. So she was trying to be with her wife and have a job in the same community, the same building. And they didn't let her know. I mean, I believe, is it in the US or is it in Canada? There's a no ghosting rule that's coming into effect, that you have to respond to every job applicant within like 45 days or something like that. Like, you have to respond to everybody. So because we just have too many of these ghost jobs where you apply and it's just crickets, right? And so, yeah, I understand that. So when you're doing this personal branding, it's just your skills. It's just what you know. So what do you physically need to do? You need to like and give quality comments on other posts that are related to your industry. The comment, when you like and comment on something, that other person's followers get a notification that you like something that person is following, right? So it's like, I mean, if you spend the whole day throwing, I'm trying to use a baseball analogy, but for some reason, the straight and fastball. If you're trying to throw just fastballs all day and just shooting by people, well, that's posting. But if you're trying to get a little more excitement in the game and jolt people a little bit, you're going to throw a curveball. The curveball's going in and around, right? That's the like in the comments. That's the curveball, right? That's kind of your secret weapon. So you throw that curveball in there and everybody's like, oh, right? There's still a lot of people impressed with your fastball, straight and to the point. But that curveball you throw in there every now and again, boom, boom, curveball, right? That's your likes and your comments. So you want to be doing that as much as possible because you want to be interacting with other people, especially other people in your industry. And now your fastballs, that's just your posts. So if you're in the trades, post stuff related to the trades. It sounds almost stupid. If you buy a new hammer, oh man, show yourself pulling it out of the package and like an unboxing video. Here's my new hammer, right? This brand of hammer. It's got an extra long claw because there's a difference. The hammers are slightly different for framing, aren't they? Like there's a framing hammer or something, right? So every time you get a new special hammer, make a 30-second video about it, man. Oh, look at this. It's blue with a black handle, or it's pink with a red handle, whatever, right? Like, and it's brand new, it's shiny still. And then, I don't know, show another video, hey, I'm using my new hammer on a job site, right? And just 30 seconds of you just putting in a nail, right? And then you post that. I mean, so now think about all the different tools you have or might purchase or use. There's a video, couple videos for each tool. You may even want to start explaining the tools and saying, this hammer has a special claw on it that also allows me to do X, Y, Z. And right, so you want to explain, because you're now teaching. And sorry, hiccup, burp. So you think about the show Grey's Anatomy, all right? They see one, they do one, and they teach one, right? That's what they say about the operations. So you did your learning, and now you're starting to do the work, but now you're also adding that component of teaching, because when we teach something, we retain it better. So there's that whole chart of learning. What is that called? Chart of learning. No, it's not what I want. What is that? The pyramid of learning. Okay, that's, oh, get out of there. So, we'll share my screen again. We're going to look at the pyramid of learning real quick. This is from swipefile.com. How's that look? Let's put me back in the big window. Yeah. So, we look at the pyramid of learning. That's not what I want to go. And we have the different ways of learning stuff. So, if you're in the trades, you went into your lectures and you listened. Now, this is actually where I'm really good at learning stuff. I'm good at learning stuff here. But we look at this. This is average retention rate. So 5% we're going to learn from the lecture. That's you sitting in the classroom listening to your instructor. Then the instructors are going to say, go read this book. You got to read this chapter for next class, right? This is 10%. Now you're reading it. So you heard them talk about it, and now you're reading it. So you're going to absorb 10% of it. Audio visual. The next class, the instructor says, here's a list of videos or audios that you should listen to for the next class along with your reading, right? So you're listening, you're watching a video on what's happening, and then you're going on your first internship, practicum. What is that called in the trades when you start your job? When you're the greenhorn. Anyway, now you're seeing it. You're seeing it done. Someone is showing you your job shadowing. Maybe there's a lab, right? If you're learning traditionally, this is your lab. Now you're trying out your theories, and you're trying to light stuff on fire and change the chemical makeup or whatever. Right now you're demonstrating it, right? So this is that. Then discussion group. So this is where you're meeting with your friends, or you're on the job. This could even be your job shadowing part, right? Like people are talking to you about it. You are now kind of more in the industry, and everywhere you go, you can sit down and have a conversation about, hey, what kind of hammer do you use? And how do you use it, right? And then practice by doing. So now you are on the job, you're starting to do work. This is your first job in this new industry, and you're starting to get it, right? You've done all this other stuff. You're about 75%. Then there's another new person who joins the organization, and your supervisor says, Hey, Ian, you go train that person. You go teach this person, right? Now, you've maybe got to brush up on your skills because you're like, oh, I forgot a couple things, but I'm going to help them, right? So now you are teaching. And that's going to help you retain those skills. Right now, you're, instead of just being this newbie who can hardly do nothing, can't remember anything, you're now teaching 90% plus of the job of that particular skill you're teaching. You are near expert on that. So personal branding, you're trying to prove to a future employer that you know stuff, and you're kind of relearning and reteaching yourself because you're teaching on your social media how to use this hammer, how to use this screwdriver, what these different drill bits are for. Like, now you're in the industry and you're teaching and training, and these are the things that you're, as part of your personal branding, so that when someone looks at your resume and reads your cover letter and then goes to your LinkedIn or any of your socials that might be open, they're going to see you doing stuff. They're going to see that you understand what the slide ruler does. They're going to see you teaching as opposed to just doing. But you could be doing. You got in the industry and now you're trying to be a carpenter, and you've decided you have to build a shed in your backyard for your lawn, your yard equipment or whatever. So you're going to document the whole thing. And you're going to talk about the different cuts, the different connections, the different tools, the different supplies. You're going to walk through this whole little project of building this shed by hand, by yourself. And you've documented it on your social media. You've branded yourself as that dude who built a shelf. Or built a shelf. Built a shed. Right? So, if that's your industry, and this goes for any industry, right? I see a lot of programmers looking for work. Why aren't you building your own program while you're working? Right? You have the programming skills to build a program. Start building some programs. And it keeps your skills fresh and gives you a possibility of making some money. Right? You got the simple little program, you throw it up on the store, the Android store or the Apple store. Right? Now you got this little program. Maybe you're charging $1 for it. Right? Simple little program. Just throw it up there. But you're getting these skills. You're continuing to learn as you're building stuff. You're building a portfolio for yourself. So, Mr. Tradesperson, I built this shed from hand. Go to this website to see all my videos on how I built it. That could be on your resume, man. I built 12 programs and they're all listed on the Apple Store. Put the links in. That's amazing, man. That's all on your resume. That's just like, you've gone one step above because you are proving your skills. And get creative. It could be for any job, any industry. Just think about the stuff that you would do and start talking about it. And do little short videos or demonstration videos or whatever you want to do. Get creative. This is part of you building that brand, showing your skills so that you are one step more interesting than the other person applying for the job. If you have two identical people, normally I say my tiebreaker is like something I'm needing. So maybe I'm trying to get more diversity in the organization, and I'll say, okay, two identical people, I'm going to go with this person of color, or I'm going to go with this woman, and I'm going to go with this disabled person. I'm trying to get that diversity, right? That's a tiebreaker. Another tiebreaker is education. Who's got the most education? And it's very rare that I get to this situation where it's like identical education, and I have to say, who's got the best GPA? I don't care who's got the best GPA. They still finished their course. They earned it, right? But the absolute rare situation is who's got the better GPA, because they're identical and all their education is identical. They have an identical experience. Then I'm looking at, well, maybe GPA. But this could be another tiebreaker for small businesses or large businesses. You have two identical candidates, or very similar candidates. One candidate has like closed social media. They don't show anything. You don't know what they're up to. It makes you think this guy's just a party life person and they're just going out partying and womanizing, right? But the other person has just a ton of videos on YouTube where they talk about the tools of the industry, talk about the industry in general. Right? There's a tiebreaker. So get out there and do that personal branding, man. You got to do everything to be that one step more important, not more important, but better than the next person. That's the fight. And the thing is, we all have this ability to do this, and like nobody's doing it. Like hardly anybody is doing it. I've never seen anybody applying for a heavy equipment job and they've got all kinds of videos of them running this equipment and talking about, oh, when you run a grader, you got to do this or that, or else you're going to mess up the road for the client, right? I've never seen that from my end. When I get a resume, like it doesn't say, watch all my heavy equipment operating videos here. And, you know, it's like, hey, my name is John. Today I'm running this D11 cat and we're going to be plowing all these trees down in this area. So first I'm going to do my walk around. So we're going to check all these. We're going to make sure it's greased up. We're going to, you know, possibly have to clean a spot because the last guy didn't clean it properly. And I'm going to make sure I got all my fuel and my oil levels are all right. And, oh, look at this blade. I'm going to show you how to change a blade right now. So he changes out a blade on the front of the machine, right? And then he gets up in there and he's like, okay, we're ready to go now. But I'm going to show you the running. But those are like, this really isn't that hard because it's just turn the key. It's put it in gear. It's like whatever. This is how you steer. This is your air conditioning. Look, this one's got a radio in it, so that's great. But we're still going to wear our headphones for safety, our protective headgear, right? So, I mean, can you imagine that? A couple videos of just that? I mean, this dude could make 3 videos a day, and he's just doing his job. And he's got 500 videos on YouTube, and it's all about him interacting with different pieces of heavy equipment. And my God, are you going to trust that guy more than the guy that just says, I've worked heavy equipment for the last 30 years, right? Like this dude, I've worked heavy equipment for the last 30 years, and here's my YouTube channel showing you all the equipment that I've run. Like, my God. Oh, that is something. I'm getting goosebumps because this is an amazing idea, right? Everybody should be doing this for their job or their career, especially, you know, if you're currently in a job and you're working, you can talk about all the different things you've learned today at work, right? I was given this new task today. It's doing X, Y, Z. It was very interesting because I'm using a new program I've never used before. And my boss told me that I picked it up really quick. So we'll see how we go over the next 6 months with this new task, right? I'm like, shit. I was like, I got my resume. I'm doing my office job. But I make a bunch of TikToks about the work I do and how I do it and what I've learned and how I'm training the new guy. And I'm like, check out my work videos here on TikTok. And they're not the satirical fun stuff or bad situation things. They're actually you doing your work. Now, some of this stuff could be boring as shit, right? Like, so maybe you're not going to become a YouTube star talking about your job. Maybe you are, especially with that heavy equipment one, man. I would love to see just a ton of videos of people running their heavy equipment. The closest I see is like watching Gold Rush or something. That's my what's that? My dirty secret, or what's that when you like something and you don't, and it's shameful that you like it, right? That's me. I'm watching Gold Rush movies, the series and stuff. So, could I run a gold mine? Absolutely not. I would die the first day. But I enjoy watching it. So, we look at the personal branding. And I think any job, any industry, I think you can absolutely do some personal branding. And you just keep it as professional as possible with this personal branding stuff. If you're deciding that you want to lean more to, because you're suddenly making more money on YouTube by making these videos, then maybe that's a different conversation. But if you're just looking for the next job, and creating this personal brand, right, is going to help you. Oh, where 1 hour, 27 minutes. I think this was pretty cool stuff we talked about. My next topic was supposed to be leverage your social media. All right, but I hit on that a little bit because I talked about what I'm doing. But if you are really trying to hit it hard, you don't want to just concentrate on one social. You want to concentrate on 5 to 7, right? This video right now is going to live to 5 places, and 4 of those places it's saving, and it's going to be forever content on that social. And then when I'm done the live, this program I have will create, I think it's 5 viral clips. They're sort of less than a minute long, and they're the skinny clip, the portrait, and so that's 5 places that I'm posting those also. So I'm actually hitting 6 different. I'm hitting LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter X, and TikTok for my shorts. But I'm also getting Twitch for my live. So I'm hitting 6 social media websites with what I'm doing. And that's not including any commenting and liking I'm doing. And I primarily do that on LinkedIn, because that's where my industry is, an HR consultant and marketing and Indigenous relations. I just like to spend more time over there. So, but I'm also posting. I try to post as much as possible, and I try to post an image. Although lately I haven't been doing it as well. And I'm trying to write the occasional article. I would like to write an article on LinkedIn like once a week. And then I want to take that article and make it a blog on my website. So it's kind of this, they feed each other and stuff like that, right? But you just got to hit all these socials, man. I'm hitting five every workday. Six every day, every work day of the week. I'm hitting 6. Every day I go live, I'm hitting 6 with 3 or more pieces of content. No, I lied. I'm hitting 5 with 3 or more content. The Twitch is weird. It won't let me upload the little one, so it just takes my live, and then it only sits there for like 30 days or 60 days or something like that, right? So Twitch is kind of weird. I'm still learning it. I haven't actually gone live on Twitch, so I don't know the experience really. But I know a lot of people stream on Twitch, so I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna stream there, right? So leverage what you can, make it as easy as possible, but certainly aim to 5 to 7, right? There's a lot of other social media sites out there that aren't as used as much. Just wherever you think your target audience might be, then you think about that, right? Your personal branding, because you can use it as a link. I think something like YouTube is probably really great, because if you're making all these videos, you just throw it on your YouTube channel. But at the same time, you could be posting the exact same video on TikTok or Twitter X, right? And they could be just the short videos, the skinnies, the portrait, not the landscape. So make it easy. If you're just filming on your phone, I mean, most of them are going to be the landscape unless you turn the phone. But maybe you just carry around a tripod with you, or some sort of handy stick, right? I got this tripod, and it extends way up. But I put my light on it here. But when I'm filming my little short things, my random videos, I'll put that's a holder for my phone, so I record on the phone, not on the computer. So put this back. Maybe I got the light a little close to my face, and you're like, oh my god, we see Ian's face. So that's about right. But so yeah, just get out there, leverage that social media, because you may also be in a situation where someone's going to recommend you or see your content and say, hey, you should apply for this job. I think you're great, right? And if you are thinking of using social media to try to help you get a job, look for the leadership of the organization you want to work for and try to find them and follow them, connect with them in some way, and maybe they'll start watching their videos, maybe they'll like you, maybe they'll say, oh god, Ian's a heavy equipment operator, look at all the cool stuff he does, and he knows how to, he knows about that one spot, because it seems like all operators forget that one spot, right? I'm just checking my phone here, something funny came up. So I feel like something fishy is going on. But anyway, I'm going to let you go for the day. Yay! Your homework today is no homework. Review your resume. Make sure you're doing proper cover letters. Like, this is the basic stuff. but do their personal branding. Try it out. Try it out for the next year. This isn't something that you're going to do one and done. This is ongoing, right? So do it for the next year and see if that helps improve your prospects. All right. So I'm going to end this stream. Tomorrow, Friday, is fun and games. Basically, we're talking about everything and anything. Movies, music, board games, Magic, the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons, popular culture. I'll talk about anything on Fridays. So, oh, someone just, of course, it's my sister. What'd she say? So glad my wife didn't take the teaching job in Wabasca this summer. She would have been part of the ATA again. She works at a band school now and is not on strike. So we do have some independent schools that don't have unions. But of course, all public schools in Alberta, teachers are on strike. So, I mean, you're a teacher on strike, now making strike money. If your union can afford to pay you, start making some teaching videos, throw them up on the interwebs, right? Like, again, it's just something that you can start and you can do, and it's the start of your portfolio. You are a teacher, so teach. So, and I mean, like, teachers are used to being in front of the room anyway, so they should have an easier time adapting to the video camera than, say, me, who hates people and hates being in front of people. I hate one-on-one information, situations where I gotta mix and mingle. I don't like that. If you want me to come give a keynote address at your conference or something, I can do that. I can stand up in front of 500,000 people and give a presentation. That's no problem. It's just when I get off the stage, I gotta run away. So, but anyway, I'm gonna let you go. I think I got everything. Show notes. If you're looking to connect with me, all my links are in this QR code in the top right hand corner called All My Links, and that will take you to my link tree, which is also listed here at the bottom of the screen, and that's linktr.ee/IanTheHRPro, and that's got all my links in it. If you want to connect with me, or if you want to get some HR services for me, or if you want to get my simple $7 ebook, which gives you a game plan to solve staff drama within 5 days. I mean, that might be valuable for $7, right? That's for the owners. That's not for you employees. But all my links are there. If you want me to review your resume, go to all my links, and there's a link in there to go to my Fiverr gig, and you can purchase to have me review your resume. Anyway, I'm gonna let you go. In 1 hour and 38 minutes, that's fine. Okay, bye everybody.